Right, we'll move on to an intense bit of work from Clint Eastwood. This is Sully.
So, Sully is a film about the real-life events of January the 15th, 2009, when Captain Sullenberger, Sully, heroically landed a plane in the Hudson River and saved all 155 people on board.
Madness.
Madness, yeah. An unbelievable feat. And in this clip, this is when the plane is just before it starts to nosedive, when the flock of geese hits both engines and causes a massive dual-engine failure.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Cactus 1549. Hit birds. We've lost thrust on both engines. We are turning back towards LaGuardia.
Which engine did you lose?
Both engines.
Ignition.
Ignition.
Thrust levers confirm. Idle.
Idle.
Cactus 1549, if we can get it for you, do you want to try to land runway 13?
We are unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
It's going to be left traffic, runway 31.
Unable.
Okay, what do you need to land?
No reload after 30 seconds. Engine master 1 and 2 confirm off.
Too low,
Off.
Terrain. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
This is the captain. Brace for impact.
It's all a bit dramatic.
Very dramatic.
Yeah, very dramatic.
The sound work in that clip is great.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's all filmed on IMAX cameras.
We
case you didn't know.
didn't see it in IMAX though.
No, we didn't see it in
It'll
IMAX.
be in downvote. I don't even know if it was shown
Was it
in
in?
IMAX.
No, it was shown in IMAX in some cinemas.
Was it?
In selected cinemas, yeah, but we didn't. We just saw it in the usual format.
At Empire Cinemas, by the way.
Yes,
Thank
we
you very
did.
much.
Yeah. And so, if you didn't know, like we said, this is based on the real events of the crash in the Hudson River and the remarkable work of Captain Sully and his pilot, well, his co-pilot, played by Aaron Eckhart. And you know, Tom Hanks, he's just sort of like the most dependable man in Hollywood, really.
He's America's dad.
He's America's father. He really is, yeah. And you just know when he's going to be in a film, you're going to get at least something serviceable. And this is more than that, really, isn't it? I think, to be honest, I mean, when it comes in this, I think my worry with this film going into it was going to be a bit dreary. Like I felt like when you hear the synopsis where it's like the investigation behind what really went on, you think, oh, this could be quite dull, this could be quite boardroomy, but.
Yeah,
it's not. I thought this was really good. To be honest, I think the fact that at its core, it's got that massive internal conflict between Sully himself, between the fact that he is possibly a hero or he is the exact opposite of that. He put all of these lives in massive danger by crashing in the river instead of returning to LaGuardia Airport or going to the airport in New Jersey, the two recommended options that he was told to do, and instead went in the river. And the conflict between him is shown really well. I think Sully as a character in the film is really well done and played by Tom Hanks really well. I think you get to the heart of why he made this decision, not just in terms of reality, but in terms of the film as well. I think that gives it a lot of power. Don't you think?
The interesting thing about the film is obviously the actual event, the actual crash, was over in about 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
It takes place over a very short space of time. I think it's played out pretty much in real time in the film towards the middle. So you've got a bit before, you've got a bit after. The sort of the crash itself is a flashback to then flash back forward to the investigation and stuff. Yeah. So you've got it's a 90-minute film, so it's quite tight. Don't go in expecting, you get the impression from the poster and the trailer it's going to be this kind of big disaster movie. Obviously, spoiler alert, it's not a disaster movie. They survived. That's the true story of it. But don't go in expecting something big. This is a very small story told on a small scale, but with IMAX cameras.
Yeah.
You've got to film that big scene. That's got to look great. But that's a very small part of the film. The rest of it is the sort of the deliberating over afterwards and the conflict, as you said. But it never feels the need to make it any bigger. It never feels the need to turn this story of this ordinary man, just a pilot. He's not like a superstar, he's not some kind of rock star, he's not some kind of, I don't know, folk hero. He's just this guy who's in a very good deed. And I think I went into the film expecting some kind of big film. I was expecting it to be overblown and big, and it wasn't. It is deceptively small. It has the IMAX cameras, which is probably one of the reasons why you'll think it's huge. But I think when I saw the film, I was slightly underwhelmed, but I think that's a good reaction to have. I think to come out feeling content with it and feeling satisfied is probably better than being like, whoa, that was amazing. I think that the way the story is told, it deserves a lot of credit for being that kind of film that doesn't pander to the mainstream blockbuster disaster movie tropes. It's just about the man and the story, and it's very well told. I'd like to see it again to fully appreciate it properly, knowing what I know now. I don't think I'll have time. I've barely got time to see the films that are out this week, but I like it more on retrospect than actually having seen it in the cinema.
Yeah.
Interesting one.
I think that the fact that at its core is that tale of heroism from a man who it's quiet heroism. Like it's a man who he doesn't want the acclaim, he doesn't want the aplomb. He's a man doing his job in possibly some of the most challenging circumstances you could possibly ever be in. Like as a pilot, and you're about to have a plane crash. That's got to be, that easily one of the most terrifying experiences of your life, and to survive that. Not only surviving yourself, but also saving every single person on board, and only certain members of the passengers and crew sustaining injuries, and that is it. No deaths at all. That is, it's an act of heroism on a small scale, but like morally and just on a scale of huge humanity.
Yeah.
Instead of being just sort of huge and like bombastic in that way, it's got a real sense of quiet heroism in the fact that that this man who's so professional at his job, so experienced, doing what he knows best, and he spends the rest of the film just getting slapped about by government officials who clearly have no idea what they're going on about, and can't trust this man who's got 40 years, 4 decades of piloting experience, which the film goes to great lengths to show you, and just to be so by the film's denouement, you like when you've got Skylar from Breaking Bad and other various governments.
If you didn't hate her enough from Skylar, you'll hate her even more now.
Sitting there in these glorious IMAX cameras watching Aaron Eckhart and Tom Hanks just sit there smirking as they realise, you know what, we were right all along. As you're just watching them get on with it, and you realise, you know what, this whole thing's extremely stupid. Why did they even dare to question them?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
America.
Let's talk about the crash very quickly. I think we've said the film's quite small, but this is for the people who were involved in it, it's a very big thing.
Yeah.
You can't downplay that. I think the film does a great job of showing you, realising how, real the situation is. When you're in the plane, you're seeing these people who are terrified for their life, and you're sitting in this comfy cinema seat, but you still feel for them. You still feel like, even though you know they survive, you still feel like, can you imagine the sort of torment and the trauma you'd be going through? Yeah. And that enough is a rush, and it gives you a lump in the throat.
I think the certain cuts back to Laura Linney, who plays Tom Hanks's wife, is really, really, like, I think it brings it back home as sort of as the vessel for the audience to see just some of the trauma that a lot of the families would have been going through when they saw this on the news when it popped up, and the fact that it did break up, and he's like, I'm fine, but turn on the TV, and it's like that sudden panic, just it gets to you, and it brings home the message of it. And I think it is just it's I mean, you see the actual crash multiple times, don't you, from different sort of perspectives and different moments, and I think that plays it in really well. It puts you on the plane in a way that makes you really scared for the fact that it may have been an ordeal that was over quite quickly and dealt with so professionally and in a way that no one was no one was killed, but it could have been so much worse, because it does show you the poor outcomes, and they're not pretty. No.
It really was a miracle.
Yeah, so it was a miracle on the Hudson.
That's Sully. I believe it's just called Sully.
Yeah.
For a time it was called Sully Miracle on the Hudson, but now I think
it might be in America.
With a much snap. I think it's called Sully there.
Yeah.
I think
fair enough.
We were going to call it something different here. And we must have changed our minds.
Sully.
It's
I hope people don't think
now.
it's about Monsters Inc. Sully.
I think if it was, that'd have been fine too.
Yeah.
If it had been Sully and Mike Wazowski in the pilot chair.
Wazowski.
So go see that now. Clint Eastwood's still kicking it, still doing his thing.
Somehow.
Yeah. Still.